and kind of leading up to where we're at now as the company. So let me just bring up the slides, and then I'll walk you through the story. So let me know when you have the slides.
Yep.
Can you guys see that right now? Okay, fantastic. So let me don't go full screen. Start slideshow. Okay, you have the screen. You can see the slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So again, my name is Behdad Bahrami. I'm the founder and CEO of Edgecom Energy, and I'm kind of the founder. And then I switched to being the co-founder, and the story will make sense kind of over time. So before starting Edgecom Energy, I was an industrial energy manager. So I studied materials engineering at McMaster. And my idea was always that I'm going to study materials engineering because I'm going to design some new planes or trains or cars or wind turbines, or I'm going to use my materials engineering knowledge to make the world more sustainable. Pretty soon, once I got into second or third year of undergrad, I realized if I want to actually invent new materials, I have to go and get a PhD. And the idea of staying in university till 35 didn't sound very appealing to me. At the same time, I had a very entrepreneurial family. So my father was an entrepreneur, my grandpa, my uncles, everyone in one way or another had started different kinds of companies. So it was kind of in the genes that at some point I'm going to do my own thing. But I graduated university with no knowledge of sustainability and no understanding of sustainability. So I said, first I need to go get some real world experience before I go try to do my own thing. One thing led to another, and I got hired by this company called Vision Extrusions, which was one of Canada's largest plastics manufacturing facilities. They hired me because I had materials engineering background and polymer engineering background. They hired me to help them optimize all of their machinery and equipment with this new title that was invented back then. This is around 2011. It was called an energy manager. So these guys were spending upwards of $15 million on electricity, plus water, plus gas, and all those utilities. They needed someone to take control of this, understand it, and sort of like process optimization focused on the energy space. So I went in there, started applying for all the different government grants that existed, started doing a lot of different research on the way they run their operations. And as I was there, I basically ended up, I said, I don't want to do a PhD, but I ended up almost doing a PhD in hands-on energy management for an industrial facility. So by the time I left there, I was there for about 6 years full time. By the time I left, I could basically write a book about chillers, boilers, lighting retrofits, solar panels, battery systems, government incentives, the psychology of energy management, the tools that exist, the competitors that exist. And I just realized that, you know, with the world of software changing so quickly and AI coming up, I had some friends, you know, graduating in undergrad and then going into the Bay Area, working for Google. And there was a lot of talk about AI and how data is going to change everything. So even though data was becoming a hot topic back in, you know, this is 2014, 2015, it was becoming a hot topic. In energy, everything was very rudimentary. Everything was very left behind, and everyone was still just using Excel to do everything that they needed to do. So the culmination of the idea for Edgecom really stemmed from this previous role that I had where I was doing a lot of this stuff manually. And that's what got me to start Edgecom Energy. So this is a picture of the facility. It was about 3 million square feet of production real estate. And again, heavy energy users. And once they started seeing the upgrades, once they started monitoring their energy, once they started analyzing energy, they started realizing that this is a controllable cost. This isn't just something that it's a bill. The bill comes and we pay for it. There's a lot that we can do to actually impact this energy. It's complicated. It's not just okay, you know, reduce your consumption. When you consume your energy, what type of energy you're producing, that all affects sustainability and the prices. So as the facility realized that this is something that they can save a lot of money on, they got more and more excited, more buy-in, more people in the company wanted to get involved with energy. And they got to a point where they loved energy management and they were doing this. And I thought, well, now there's thousands of other companies here in Ontario that are going to need this kind of same type of support. So why don't I launch a company and go and see how we can target these other facilities? So I launched Edgecom Energy in 2016. And the idea was, how do I scale out this energy management thing that I'm doing for one company for thousands of companies? At the beginning, it was a consulting company. So it was me, it was a couple of energy managers, a couple of engineers, some salespeople. So you can see here, Colin, he was the first guy who joined us. He was our sales manager. We started going and talking to a lot of agricultural facilities. This is the facility for Metrolinx. So we started giving them advice and giving them feedback and doing a lot of consulting. All of the work that we did in consulting made an impact, but it wasn't making the level of impact that I wanted to make, and it wasn't very scalable. So I didn't want to have a team of 500 people going and doing consulting. And the idea was, how do we scale this out? How do we make it easier for whoever is already on site to manage their energy without having to put an energy expert into that facility? I met my co-founder. So this is why now I was the founder for the first 2 years. And then when I met Mehdi, we did a big pivot, and now he's a co-founder as well. So Mehdi was doing his PhD at the University of Waterloo in power systems and energy microgrid optimization. So when I met Mehdi, I shared with him the ideas of what I've been doing and how the story has been going so far. And his eyes just lit up. He said, this is ridiculous that you're doing consulting. This needs to become software. This needs to be a software company, and we need to pivot this company towards software. So we pivoted everything towards energy management software, peak management software. And that was when we started building our team. So you can see here, Colin, that was the original guy, was still with us. We added a couple of junior interns. So this is like early 2020, right around COVID time, where we were starting to build out the team and kind of grow. Once we pivoted to software, Mehdi started developing a lot of these things. So I, as the energy manager, knew the problem of the customer. Mehdi was the software guy. He knew how to build the software. So it was a match made in heaven. We started building our platform as a starting point. The first version of the platform was actually built in MATLAB. So it was very like research project-y, but it actually worked. It was giving the solutions that customers needed. This was the first version that we launched in 2019. And fast forward to today. So the company currently has 26 full-time employees. We're based here in North York, Ontario. We have hundreds of facilities that are using our platform. I'll get into the traction a little bit later. And when these LLMs came out, that was like the pivotal point for Edgecom, right? So we've always had this idea of how do we gather energy data? How do we make energy data easy to understand? How do we bring it all into one place? So we've been bringing and aggregating and gathering this data for 6 years now. But the insights that we want to get off that data and the solutions that we want to provide to customers based on that data have still been primarily through either traditional machine learning models or a lot of manual work, right? It's still been people analyzing that data in our office and giving customers insights of things they need to change and things they can do. So the idea was, how do we build a virtual energy manager? How do we take all the knowledge and all the training and all the work that we've done over the past 6 or 7 years, and how do we build that into a virtual energy manager that will then be able to analyze everything in the facility and actually do what I was doing for that facility back then, do it for every facility in the world. And we launched this about a year ago, and it's already in use by many of our clients, and it's improving and getting upgraded as we go. So a lot of the foundational data that we built is now going into this Copilot. Once we launched the Copilot, it really opened up a lot of different avenues for us. So last year, we were the winner of Shell's New Energy Challenge. So out of 300 companies globally that competed for a partnership with Shell, we came as number one. We also won a challenge with ABB out of Switzerland. So ABB is a massive grid products and hardware manufacturer for electrical components. So ABB actually awarded us, out of 800 companies globally that competed for that challenge, we came number one. They flew us out to France to pitch to their senior strategic managers and everything like that. We're also part of AWS, Amazon's Gen AI Labs cohort. And a lot of leading enterprises like, the big auto manufacturers, the big tier 1 OEMs are trusting us with a lot of the work that we're doing. And really, it's the combination of energy knowledge with data and software that has allowed us to really be one of the winners in this space so far. So in terms of company traction, we're 26 team members. Right now, we're working with some of Canada's and North America's largest energy consumers, companies like Alamos Gold that are like the third or fourth largest gold producer, Dr. Oetker's, which makes a lot of those frozen pizzas I'm sure you're familiar with, Sobeys, Metrolinx, Cadillac Fairview, the Toronto Eaton Center is actually one of our clients. RBC's head office is one of our clients. And we're serving 831 megawatts. So if you can imagine, a decent sized city is around 500 megawatts. Our platform is controlling 830 megawatts of demand. So more than the size of a city of energy. We're in 200 major industrial facilities right now, and our software is being used by these facilities. So now that's the story of Edgecom. We're going to have time for questions, and I'm excited to jump into it. But I just want to share a couple of things that I've learned during these past few years that hopefully resonate with some of you and hopefully spark some ideas to think about the entrepreneurial journey. So the first thing I learned is that you need to start before you're ready. So I always thought you should be 60, 70, maybe 80% ready in your head before you start. I started this company when I was about 40% ready, right? So way earlier than you think you need all the information. The data and the iterations are what will actually teach you. So you need to have that bravery to just jump. And in 2016, when I jumped, I was very lucky because the company that I was working with wanted to hire me as a consultant. So right off the bat, I had a client, signed up, right? But I wasn't ready. I didn't know anything about team building, management, sales, marketing. I didn't know anything. All I knew was energy. So I really had to pick up everything else on the way, but you have to trust yourself and your ability to learn. So I would say I was 40% ready when I jumped. The second thing is vision is very important, but execution is the hard part. So a lot of people think ideas are important, or that, it's that spark that's going to make something happen. The spark is just, 0.001% of the journey, right? The spark needs to be exciting, and it needs to be something that motivates you to wake up every day and push hard for your goals. And that vision is important, but the execution is the hard part, right? So when you get into the details and when you get into the real challenges of the real world is when the problems come up. So focus on execution, learn as much as you can about how to manage people, how to do sales, what are the frameworks for specific things. Most of the stuff that you're going through as an entrepreneur, someone else has already gone through it. So obviously there's thousands of good resources out there, and you need to pick and choose what makes sense for you. But execution is the hard part. Being very firm on the vision, but very flexible on the strategy and on how you execute, and iterating really fast. So even though Edgecom has been around now for really in its current shape since 2019, it's been 6 years, we're still keeping that day one mentality and still pivoting as fast as we need to, and staying agile and iterating on our products and our capabilities, even our markets, as fast as we can, right? So not getting stale, not becoming very slow, and iterating as fast as you can on product, on methods, on systems, on processes, is one of the ways to keep scaling. This is a typo. This is supposed to be take as many shots as you can and get on the plane. So I read a tweet a couple of weeks ago about, and I haven't been able to find it again, but basically the guy said, anytime you get an opportunity where there's an inkling to get on the plane, or not get on the plane, you should get on the plane and go to that event. Go to that meeting, go to that event, take the call, take the meeting, take the webinar. And for me, that has been really, really important. So for example, we had an opportunity to meet someone in Alberta who was doing something similar to what we did. I just decided to get on a plane, go visit him, and have dinner with him. One thing led to another. We ended up acquiring a company in Alberta, and it's been a great growth trajectory and a great story. And that's how we expanded regionally, right? So anytime you have an opportunity or you think there's a potential to jump and get on the plane or get in the car or go to that meeting, you should definitely do it. And for example, next week, I'm going to Texas to see how we can kind of do the same thing that we did in Alberta in Texas. The last part is having fun and working hard and enjoying the journey as you go, right? So for me, obviously, as an entrepreneur, you get bogged down a lot in the outcome, right? So what's the end goal that I'm trying to get to? What's this impact I'm trying to make? What's the, what's my exit plan and all those kinds of things? Those are important, and you should always kind of have an idea of where you're headed in your overall ideology. But when it comes to my story, I think having fun and enjoying the journey as you go has been one of the most critical parts of the whole thing. So that's me with Edgecom, and I'll stop there and see if anyone has any questions.
Thanks, Behdad. This was really amazing. Like, and your entire story since 2015, working with different advisors, building an amazing team. I think this is really exceptional. So kudos to you and your team. I'll get started. I have a couple of questions. So you talked a little bit about your co-founder, Mehdi. I meet a lot of clients who are looking for co-founders and they don't know how to approach this. So
Mhm.
my question is like after connecting with Mehdi, how was your journey and how fast did he become your co-founder?
Oh, that's a really good story. So I went to again on the subject of get on the plane, right? So I went to an Earth Day conference. This was back in 2014 or 15, and just by chance there was someone at that conference he was a professor, and he was talking about how the future of energy is going to be AI and machine learning and data. When I saw that presentation, I was like, holy shit, this is the exact same thing I've been thinking of all these years. So I went up to that guy. I said, hey man, I know you're a professor, but I want to hire you. I was a 25-year-old guy, but I said, I want to hire you. He said, we started talking. He said, oh, I feel your passion. I feel your excitement. And okay, I'd love to work with you. So we had a couple of coffees, realized I couldn't afford to hire him because he was a professor. But then he told me basically, I have these two students that are incredible. Talk to them. Had a couple of coffees. Gave Mehdi some small projects to see like, can he really do what he's saying he can do? He started actually as a contractor, right? So we were paying him, I don't know, like close to minimum wage as a contractor. He was doing his PhD. This was kind of like a side hustle for him. And then I started realizing over time the relationship flourished, and the more time we spent together, the more we realized how aligned we are on vision, but also how complementary we are on skill set. So that story. So again, it goes back to get on the plane and I mean, go to as many events and conferences, and really you have to be willing to put yourself out there and look stupid, right? So for a 25-year-old guy to go up to a professor and say, I want to hire you, you might not, have the bravery to do that. But I think you got to just push yourself to get uncomfortable and to have those difficult conversations and to move the needle forward in whatever way it takes, right? So there's no clear path to find a co-founder, right? Like I didn't even go with the idea that I'm going to find a co-founder. It was just like anyone who's like-minded and anyone who's interested in this thing, I want to talk to, right? And I think that's the luck kind of falls in your lap when you're looking in the right places. Right?
Yep. Thanks for sharing that. So more of networking, more of keeping an open mind and just putting yourself out there. Next question is Davinder.
It's amazing journey you had, Bahram, and it's exciting to see this. And kudos to you actually for that. And this just a very generic question on retaining or hiring a talent for the startup, right? What motivates more to retain and hire smart people in your mind for a startup?
I think the most important thing is that everybody wants to be on a winning team. I think everybody, like, when you're at an event, right, and you're at a basketball tournament, let's say, right, and there's this one team that's just so excited to be there, and they're just high-fiving and they're winning and they're excited and they're passionate, right? You're like, I wish and then you're on a team that kind of everyone's kind of slouched down. You want to be a part of that winning team, right? That's human nature, right? When you see a group that's winning or people that are winning, you want to align yourself with them. I think most people who have entrepreneurial or a startup mentality, that's one of the things they need to have. So for me, it was always about painting a vision and a story of where this thing is going to go. It wasn't easy, right? There's no guarantees. And there were times where, we had 4 people on the team and, I was expecting some crazy high goals to be achieved by a junior marketing manager, and she wasn't able to live up to those expectations. So I think for me, like, gathering the right people around really came from selling that vision and making people a part of the team, right? So I always had the mentality that it's not me, it's us, and you are a core part of this team. And if you're a part of this team, we'll either win together or we'll lose together. But here's where we're planning to go. Here's what the industry looks like. Here's what the potential is. If everything goes the right way, this is something that could be huge. And even right now, I mean, we're just in our scale up phase, right? There's still so much runway ahead of us, but continuously iterating that potential and that energy that you bring as the founder, I think emotions are really contagious, right? So painting a picture, a lot of times painting that picture comes from the energy that I have for this industry, right? And even if you don't come from this industry, when you come in and you see, oh, this guy who's an expert, who's been in this for like over 10 years now, he still believes in it so much, that becomes contagious. So the fact that we're going to win, the fact that we can win together, the fact that you can be a part of this growth story and you can make a real impact at the company, right? So anyone from the most junior marketing person all the way up to our directors and C levels, they all feel, I know this in my heart, that they all feel like they're making a big impact in the company, right? So you can be a part of a winning team, you can make impact in that team, and this industry is going to be huge. Do you want to be a part of it or not? If you don't want to be a part of it, well, you're going to miss out, right? And I found that has worked. We've had really low retention, like barely anyone has quit on bad terms or left us on bad terms over the past 7 years. Now that we raised our seed round, hiring has also gotten much easier, because now that we have that stamp of approval from ABB, it kind of puts that, again, stamp of approval on. So hiring has gotten even easier. But I think if you look for entrepreneurial minded people and you paint that story, I think, the right people will come along.
Okay. Thanks.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Oh, great. Sounds like a great company, and you're great at presenting too. Excellent.
Thank you.
How did you go about raising money, and at what stage, and what was your path?
So we raising money. So we did in 2018, we did a original, like, very, very small seed, pre-seed, pre-seed, friends and family, basically. That was like nothing. And then over time, those same people, so these guys were some real estate investors who didn't really know anything about energy, but they said, okay, this guy, he's a young guy, he's doing some stuff. So again, met them through, those events and networking and everything. So we started with really, really small. Like, I would say in my head, we basically bootstrapped. It was almost like nothing, the amount that we raised. And then it got to a point where we were proving that there is traction with that tiny, tiny amount. We were proving that, look, we have something here, right? We're able to sell. Customers are resonating. Then those same angels became a little bit more interested. They started sticking their nose in. They got more excited. And then that got us to the point where in 2024, early 2023, I decided, okay, now, because the idea was never to go the venture route, right? That was never the idea. The idea was this is going to be a self-sustaining entity. We're not going to raise venture money. In 2023, I started seeing, oh man, the competition and the market is like growing like crazy. There's competitors popping up that are going to come and eat our lunch if we don't go and raise some money and grow faster. So early 23, I started dabbling into raising, not very serious, kind of learning. I didn't know anything about raising venture capital, right? It was like completely new to me. So it was a steep learning curve to figure out what this is all about and how to play the game and how to talk to investors and blah blah blah. And then one thing led to another. Once we won the ABB challenge, ABB themselves came in and showed interest, and then a Toronto-based VC also showed interest. So got into those negotiations. The whole thing took from start to end about 8 months to close our seed round. But now, the company, because when you're starting with the mentality that you're not going to raise, a lot of the shareholder agreements and your cap table, like everything looks kind of different, right? It's like almost like a small business. So shifting everything from small business mentality to startup mentality and scale up mentality was a heavy lift. But now we're at a point where the plan is to go through that. We did the seed, Series A in late 25, early 26, and hitting those kinds of milestones.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Thank you so much. If there are no more questions, I'm gonna conclude this session. Going once, going twice. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Behdad. I'm going to share the recording with you as well as with our innovations manager, Hessie Jones. We'll probably do a blog post for this session and share the insights with a larger audience. But thank you, everyone who joined us today, and see you at the next one.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks for the presentation.
Thanks,
Nice
Behdad.
meeting
That was
you.
very interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Jory, if you could just